Welcome to Game MizConduct. I'm CT here with Dory.
Hello.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at Game Miz with a Z Conduct. You can also watch us on YouTube so you can see our beautiful selves.
Isn't that exciting?
This is why I got into radio and podcasting, is so people could see me, but whatever. It is what it is. We have to evolve with the times.
Exactly.
So, all right, let's talk first before we get into things. Let's address one thing that we addressed last week at the beginning of our episode, because as of Saturday, it had a resolution. The Tampa Bay Lightning issued a statement regarding Ian Cole's reinstatement. So we mentioned last week that there were some allegations made about Ian Cole on social media, and they suspended him from the start of the season while they did an investigation. And I will read the statement that came via a press release. The Tampa Bay Lightning today issued the following statement regarding the reinstatement of defenseman Ian Cole, and this came on Saturday. Following an investigation by the National Hockey League into allegations that surfaced recently via social media, which included multiple interviews and attempts to contact the source of the post, Ian Cole has been cleared to return to the Tampa Bay Lightning. The organization takes these accusations very seriously and supports the conclusion from the NHL investigation. We look forward to Ian returning to the team and appreciate his full cooperation throughout the process of this investigation. A statement from Ian Cole said, quote, "I am grateful for the opportunity to respond and refute the anonymous allegations made against me, which I categorically deny," said Cole. "I am looking forward to returning to the ice with my teammates and will have no further comments on this matter going forward," end quote. The team nor the coaches or any of the players will make any comment further on the matter, according to the press release. So, I haven't heard anything since that. So, yeah, that's where that stands.
So I did a little digging after this came out. I did see some people complaining, and that's okay. Everybody is entitled to feel how they feel about these situations. But people were complaining that the NHL rushed the investigation. They didn't try hard enough to locate the people making the accusations, which I think is a little silly because they went to social media. They can be found if they wanted to be found. They knew the end. I'm not victim blaming at all. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But in a situation like this, if you cannot contact something, if it's an anonymous accusation and that person isn't willing to put a face or even an actual name to the accusations, it makes it really easy for the person being accused to have a pretty good defense, which is, I didn't do it.
Right.
And so I said last week that I had full confidence in the Tampa Bay Lightning, how they would handle it. And because it's Tampa Bay Lightning, I'm going to say, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's all we can do at this point.
I think if it was there's a few other teams that I could think of that if it was them, maybe I'd be like, meh. But the Lightning's track record is pretty darn good since Mr. Vinnick has owned the team. They're heavily involved in the community for all sorts of different charitable organizations, including being very supportive of women and women
initiatives and
initiatives.
Yeah.
Shelters, things of that nature. So, it is, what it is that this happened, but, you can only do so much, right? You can only investigate so much. So,
yeah. So let's move on to the start of the season. Now, this came out on Saturday when the team was in Pittsburgh for their second of their back-to-back. But let's rewind to the start of the season, which was Tuesday. They opened the season in New York against the Rangers. They dropped the game 3-1. One takeaway from that game, Dory. It's the first game. I mean,
it's the first game, and Madison Square Garden is one of the hardest places to play.
Yeah.
Any sport in.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Obviously, Steve Stamkos, right? Yep. With the lone goal, you love to see somebody at that age still contributing at a high level to the team. But other than that, what are you? I was
traveling, and I first saw the first period and a half, and Andrei Vasilevsky was playing very well. So Surprise.
Yeah.
Shocker. All right, let's fast forward 2 days to Friday the 14th, where the Lightning traveled to Columbus and they beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-2.
So I don't think it's like throwing shade to say Columbus isn't a good team. They aren't who they used to be.
Yeah, they weren't the team that knocked us out in 4 games in the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Right. And then went back to the playoffs the following year. They're a different team. They're trying to get their pieces put back together from their rebuild. So I think 5-2 in favor of the Lightning is what you expect.
Yeah.
To do in a team where that team is right now.
Exactly.
Trying to be nice about it.
Yeah. So a nice win. Then they play their first of many back-to-backs, actually 2. They have 3 back-to-backs in the first 3 weeks of the season. Just going to put that out there. But, and this is not a condensed season either. So they played their second of a back-to-back in Pittsburgh, just a little bit down the road from Columbus. And the Lightning dropped that 6-2. Ouch. And I know there were a bunch of Lightning fans on the trip because the Bucks played the Steelers the next day. Yeah. So I know of a couple people that went to see them play in Pittsburgh. The Lightning play in Pittsburgh and then see the Bucks play in Pittsburgh. And I'd say they wasted their money because neither game was very good for the Tampa teams.
Yeah.
We're not a football podcast here, but that was ugly.
Yeah, and hockey wasn't great either. But again, it's very, very, very early in the season.
Yeah.
New York is a good team.
Yeah.
Or as of late, the Rangers have been a good team. Pittsburgh's always a good team. I think I don't put too much stock in the very first couple weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Defensively, they've got a lot of things they're working on. There's a whole lot of new faces on defense. Yeah. Losing Ryan McDonagh on the ice obviously hurts. But you're also losing somebody who was beloved, is the only word I can think of, from his teammates, and especially the defensemen. And so, yes, Victor Hedman obviously is a leader, but so was Ryan McDonagh. And McDonagh was a huge part of the galvanization of the defensive core, going from, they are really... That's the one downfall of the Lightning, is their defense, to becoming one of the strongest parts of the team.
Yeah. And
so losing that does hurt. Because as, great as Sergachev is, he's still not Ryan McDonagh as far as age, maturity, Yeah. So I think the defense is going to have growing pains.
Yeah. And they were relying on Ian Cole being in the lineup, and then he wasn't able to be in the lineup for the first couple games. So yeah.
So I don't put a lot of stock in that. And I think it's better that they get these hard games and these road trips out of the way now.
Yeah.
When they're still fresh, they're still trying to work things out. We saw the turning point of the Lightning squad a few years ago was going to, Sweden. It was such a turning point for that team as a cohesive unit.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that with all the new guys on defense, a couple new faces on offense, but really defense, that these trips start giving them bonding experiences.
Yeah.
So it's an obscene amount of games. It's 16 out of 20 of the first games are on the road, or it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, there are only 2 home games in the month, or 2 home games for the regular season in the month of October. So tonight, as we record this podcast, they will have their home opener against the Philadelphia Flyers at 7. And then they have 2 days off, and then they have another back-to-back at Florida. So it's not a huge travel, but then they have, so they're at Florida, and then they're back home on Saturday versus the Islanders. So
right.
That's a home and away, basically, but with 2 different teams. And then the following week, they are on the road in LA for 3 games against those West Coast teams. So
very, very early West Coast trip this year.
Yeah, it's normally in like January, February because I'm always trying to figure out when I can do that trip and hit Disneyland at the same time, but it's not happening in late October this year. So yeah, it's very early for them, but hopefully, like you said, that'll galvanize them and bond them on that experience because they're away. And then the early part of November, they are home a lot. They are home a lot in November. There are only 4 away games in November. The rest of them, it's basically almost every other day for every week in November. So
yeah,
it's a lot. So we don't see them a lot to start the season, but get ready. You're going to be living at Amalie Arenas come November. So that's all I really have to say about, because we've only had 3 games under our belts so far.
Only 3 games. It's just, I feel too early to really start commenting on what we really saw, what we haven't seen. I think I did see a lot of people complaining about the number of goals that Bassi was letting in. But again, that goes back to a lot of the guys playing in front of him. It's kind of a new core of guys. And things are shaken up a little bit. We have, the pairings were moved around and everything just kind of started shifting around, and that influences Vasilevsky. So, were you surprised to see him? No, I'm not going to ask that.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask that. I'm not going to ask that because it's early in the season, and I think he needs as much ice time as he can. We've seen this before with Vasilevsky having a slow start. We've seen him start season slow. We've seen him start playoffs, the playoffs a little slow. So it's Andre Vasilevsky, man. He's just one of the greatest goalies on the planet. He's fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
A little reminder for tonight's home opener and the other 2 games, I guess, this month. The Tampa Bay Lightning have a new app, so make sure you download that. And they have a new episode of their Recharge series on their website at tampabaylightning.com. I don't want to get too much into pontificating about the first 3 games, so we're going to keep this one short and sweet and to the point. And because
next week
to be honest,
I
need to edit this down so I can get to the game tonight, to be honest. So still learning how to edit the video for the YouTube, so it takes a little bit. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and a review, and hit that follow button so you never miss an episode, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find all of that on our social media. And we hope you enjoy it. Dory, we'll catch you next week. How do you feel about that?
I feel good. I think we'll have more to say next week.
I do too. John Tortorella actually making an appearance at Amalie Arena tonight for the home opener versus the Flyers, because yes, he is the new coach of the Flyers. So
very interesting.
Should be fun. Have fun with that, Philadelphia media.